Hello, my yarn smithing lovelies, and welcome once again to my studio here in central UK. I'm Simon Henry, if you've not seen me before, and this is where we gather to talk all things yarn. Today I'm going to go back on a couple of videos. A little while ago I said that I'd found my favourite yarn from Temu. Well, since then, I've found some more. Stay tuned. So some of the yarn that I found back, if you remember, there was some hand dye, which is gorgeous. It really is. I've actually ordered quite a bit more of that. And there was this merino wool. Look for the label on there. Again, it's gorgeous. It really knits up very, very well. And these were, from Temu, my absolute favourite yarns. I'm going to pop them back on this messy table here. Do you remember a few videos back I tidied all that up? It's back to more or less how it was. Who cares? So I'm going to show you a couple of my new favourite yarns from there. First of all, before I forget, when I did coned yarns a few weeks ago, I actually forgot to show you this one. And this one is from Temu. I'm going to pop the details up now. It says it's 100% acrylic, but actually when I did the burn test, there does appear to be something of natural fibre content in there. And there also is, I don't know if you can see somewhere, there's a very fine metallic yarn in there as well, so it's definitely not 100% acrylic. It's kind of 4 strands that knit together. It goes through the chunky knitting machine very well. It hand knits really well on 5.5 or 6mm needles. I'm going to pop a little photograph up for you of what I actually did with it. This little jacket, this is before it was washed and blocked. This was from one cone of this yarn. I had a tiny little bit left at the end of it. The bands are crocheted rather than knitted, and literally by the time I got to the end, there was just enough to kind of pull through and weave in. So that was a proper yarn chicken moment. Feels really nice. This was done on the knitting machine. Knit up beautifully, it really did, and very reasonably priced. Like I said, I got that little jacket out of one cone of yarn, so highly recommend that. So back to today, and the first one that a couple of comments told me to try was this, which is Fairyland yarn. I'll put the details up now. It's not cheap. However, when it came, I thought, ooh, I kind of know why I've been recommended to try this out. Let me pop on the glasses and see. It says the recommended needle size is between 2.5mm and 4mm. It actually for me, it feels slightly thicker than UK DK, slightly thinner than UK Aran, so it sits somewhere in between. So I would suggest probably more like 5mm needles, perhaps. On the description on Temu, let me see if I can find it. I left it there, so I would be able to find it, and now I can't. There you go. It says acrylic and wool. It's saying on there 30% acrylic, 10% wool. However, on the yarn label, it just say the same: 30% acrylic, 10% wool, and 60% cotton. So it missed the cotton content out on the description page. It's soft, it's gorgeous, it knit up beautifully. I'm gonna actually order some more of this and do something with it. I got into trouble a few weeks ago because people kept saying that I only showed samples that I'd knit and not crocheted, so I've done a little crochet sample. This was on a 5mm crochet hook. Let's see if I can get it right for you. It's soft, it's bouncy, it washed beautifully. When I did a burn test on it, it was it appeared to be mostly natural fibre, but we know that there's, what did it say, was it 30% acrylic in there. It kind of smells right. Those who watch me regularly know I'm a bit of a yarn sniffer, and quite a few people did think that at the beginning of the video when I say hello my yarn smithing lovelies, they thought I was saying yarn sniffing lovelies. Well, I sniff yarn so you go and sniff it. It smells gorgeous. So I've put the details up there. What I'm also doing on there, excuse me being a bit sniffy today, is, as requested by some people, because obviously different Temu sites throughout the world, the pages come up slightly different. Photographs are usually the same, so if you look for Fairyland and you'll see the photograph is the same, but like I say, different parts of the world have got different pricing, etc. What I was asked to do was find out who the seller was, the yarn shop who's selling, and so I've popped that on the screen for you now. They're considered, it says Cadbury Clothing Speciality. They're considered a star seller on there, which means they've got a very high percentage of return customers on there. I certainly will be a return customer. I'm going to go and buy some more of that because it was absolutely gorgeous. So that has kind of, you know, popped up on my top yarns from Temu. The next one, which I started to see pop up quite a bit on lots of different shops and all that kind of stuff, is this one that it calls itself Marino number 5. This, again, it's not particularly cheap, but much cheaper than it would be if I was going to buy something similar here. It says it's 50% merino wool and 50% polyester. The burn test suggests that that's probably right. It did, you know, some of it was ash and some of it melted. It knitted beautifully. It pulled from the centre of the ball as well, straight away. For people who know me and they know the way I work, I do prefer, if I can, to pull yarn from the centre of the ball, even though I did have some hate saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing that because it abrases the yarn. Well, we're going to knit it and we're going to wear it, so if the yarn is abrased by pulling it from the centre of the ball, I would suggest you don't use it, because it's not going to stand up to wearing and washing. Here's a little knit sample that I did with it on 5.5mm needles. Again, it's soft, it's bouncy. It does feel like it's got some synthetic in. It washed beautifully, and in fact, actually, after it was washed, it came up slightly better. The stitch definition is really, really nice. You can see after it was washed, this kind of fluffed up a little bit because I left some ends. It appears it's 3 strands that are twisted together. It's quite loosely twisted, so it's quite bouncy. However, when I was knitting it, it didn't split at all. I put a whole ball of that through the knitting machine as well, and the knitting machine quite liked it. There was no knots, there was no breaks. It really is gorgeous. I'm going to pop that. See if I can find the shop for you. Wait a minute. We'll get there very shortly, I'm fairly sure. I put all these things on for you, and then I'll lose them. So it says it's made for knitting. It says drape and flexible. I don't know what it means by that. So the shop name is Three Bluebirds. They're also a star seller, which means they've got a very high percentage of return customers. It says on here, let's have a look. 50% wool, 50% merino wool, 50% polyester. It says on here on the label. It says, does that say polyester as well? Yeah, it does say polyester. I've also noticed on the label there's a little bit of information about where the yarn comes from. This is Australian. There's a huge amount of Australian merino wool fleece that's sent to China for processing. So when people say to me, don't buy Chinese, buy Australian, when you buy it from China, the wool is more than likely to be Australian. I think it was over 90% of Australian fleece is sent to China for processing. So let's have a look. Yep, it just says it's a sustainable natural fibre. This one was from Australia. It said that this company also use merino wool from New Zealand. And it actually tells you on their merino wool originally came from the merino sheep in Spain. It's highly valued for its softness and moisture wicking and antibacterial properties. It's nice that they've put, you know, a bit of information on there. Gorgeous, gorgeous. So I've just found the Fairyland that I showed earlier on. I actually did a bit of knit with it as well, just to see how it would be and how it washed. I did this in just this little swatching garter stitch. I'm actually going to make something up in this in garter stitch, because really it's gorgeous. It really is lovely. So I think that maybe the Fairyland is my new favourite yarn from Temu. Watch this space. I've just put in quite a big order. So that might be my favourite yarn. Who knows? So let's have a look at, there were some questions that came in. So I'm going to answer those. Let me have a look. So, oh, actually, this was just a comment. Jess, thank you, Jess, for making a comment on the video I did about Turkish yarn. I said on there that I wasn't too sure about their delivery to the USA because of the tariffs, and Jess informed me that yes, they are still delivering to the USA, and the tariffs are added to the price. Obviously it makes it more expensive, however it's still cheaper than it would be for the quality of the yarn, so it's still actually quite a good buy over there. So questions, Brenda said to me, will I do a video on tufting, which is yarn smithing, because we use yarn? And the answer to that, yes, I will. All of my tufting gear, if you've seen in the opening titles, I tuft for various galleries and the work hangs on the wall. That's actually at the other studio, so maybe at some point in the new year I'll bring that back here to where I film, and I'll do a tufting video for you. Annabelle asks me, would I show the burn test and how that works? Yes, I will. The next time that I'm doing something, I'll take the camera. That again, I do at the other studio. Usually when I'm testing a yarn, especially specifically for these videos, I do other tests with it as well. I do some dye tests. For people that don't know, certain dyes only take on natural fibres, and other dyes that only take on synthetic fibres, and that if we dye in different dye batches, that is quite a good way of recognising how much natural fibre and how much synthetic fibre is in there. I don't know if you've ever tried to dye an article of clothing that you know, said it's 100% cotton or whatever, and then find out that the stitching comes out in a different colour, and that's often because they'll use a polyester thread which takes dye differently to the cotton of the fabric. I hope that made sense. Julia asked me if I'll do some videos on drops. Yarn Drops is a very popular yarn make that is very reasonably priced for very good quality yarns, so I'll contact them and I'll see if they want me to do any reviews on their yarn. Carol says that she's trying to get on my Patreon site as a member and can't find out how to do it. Here's the link to my Patreon site there. Literally just click on there and it will ask you if you want to sign up to be a member. It's £5 or so a month. On there we're doing make-alongs. We've just finished a make-along. I've been showing that, I think, on here as well as we go along. So this is the make-along actually finished. I'll show you that. This was a bit scary for some of our members who were making along, because we steeked it. In other words, it was all knitted completely in the round, and then it was cut, and then we added the button bands and everything and the armbands later. That's up there. If you become a member, you can still go and find those patterns, find the video make-alongs that go along with it, as well as all of my other patterns and all of the other make-alongs. For the £5 a month, you get access to all of that. It's a lovely community. We've got some lovely people over there. We're really enjoying the company. New members this last week, we've had Becky and Catherine, Margaret, Carol, Samantha, Mad Cat Knitter. I love that. I think that's fabulous. So go over and have a little look and see what's going on over there. Then Janina says she's trying to get her head round some of my pronunciation of things. When I mentioned what we were going to do with some yarns, I said that we were going to make a little bolero out of something, and she said, surely it's a bolero. Well, actually, if you look, bolero is a dance, and bolero is an item of clothing. It's spelt slightly differently. We've got accents over things in bolero. I think as long as you know what we're talking about, it doesn't matter how we pronounce it. I've had quite a few actually try and pull me up on my pronunciation of things, and the only thing I would say to that is just remember, I am English. We did originate the language. More about that later in the hate. Actually, there's a little bit more about that. So that was questions. Any questions you like at all, I'll do my very best to answer for you. If there's anything you specifically want to see on here, just pop it in the comments. I'll see it eventually. We've got a huge amount of comments on the channel, and I do my very best to answer all of them. If I don't actually do a written answer, you'll see I'll always do a like or a little heart, just to let you know that I've actually read the comment. So before we do the hate, those who don't like the hate, this is where you can go now. Like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. We've just gone over 5,000 subscribers. I'm extremely grateful for that. And what were the views? Over 201,000 views, which I'm absolutely amazed at and very grateful. Thank you very much indeed for everybody who watches. So nice comments. Lovely Helen said, "You are our champion, lad." Well, I think that's lovely. I answered, "Ibagum." Thank you. Robin from Australia, she says, "I love your videos and your sense of humour." Thank you, my darling. That's lovely. VJ, that's one of our gentleman viewers, said that his Sunday is not complete without watching me. Well, thank you very much indeed. This will be up later. It is Sunday today. So thank you to all of those. Let's have a little look at some of the hate from this week. People quite often go on there and say, please ignore the hate. You know, these people are horrible and you don't need to look at it. I really quite enjoy looking at it and actually seeing how sad some of these people are. This one, I'm not going to say who that. I'll leave everything up. Anybody who reads the comments will know I never take anything down unless it's really offensive. There was one a few weeks ago, if you remember, that was homophobic and anti-Semitic. I wasn't prepared to leave that up, so I will take those kind of things down. But the ones that are just making yourself look a bit dumb, I'm going to leave those up so everybody can see who you are. So this one, "I come for the yarn. Can you stop the rest? It's boring. Also the intro, bigging yourself up, and it's all a lie." What's a lie, love? I am a designer. I've got work in art galleries, so I suppose you can call me a fibre artist. My books are still available on Amazon. I don't know if I've got any here. Let me just have a look. Hold on. Here's actually the oh dear, I've dropped it on the floor. Oh, bending down's all right. Getting up is the problem. This was one of my books that was actually translated into French for the French-speaking market. You can see Simon Henry. It says quite clearly on the top. Can't think what else is on there. I do couture surface decoration for top designers. What else is on there? And I'm a costume designer as well. I work for theatre and film and television and all that stuff. So I'm not entirely sure how it's bigging myself up. And can I stop putting it on, please? It just lets people know what my background is. That's the only reason I put that on there. It's not to show off. It's just to say that this is my background, and you know, mostly I know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I don't. Ask my husband. So that's that one. No idea. Bit strange. The next one. Do you remember when I did the hand dyes? She put, "That is not a hand dye. That is fake. Dyeing acrylic at home is," in capital letters, "impossible." Okay, number one, we never said it was dyed at home. It's done by hand in a factory. Okay. Number two, it's actually not impossible to dye acrylic at home. I wish I'd got some here that I've done. I'll try and find that out for you for another program. She was saying that it's impossible to do because you've got to get it hot. I've just have a look on Amazon and just type in there that you're looking for a dye to dye acrylic, and a whole page of stuff will come up. And you know, she goes on about, you know, you've got to use high temperatures, and that's impossible to do at home. I do it in the microwave. It's not impossible, in capital letters. at all. So effectively, when I had a look, this woman came back several times, and pretty much everything that I was saying, she was contradicting. And it got to the stage I was getting a bit fed up of her, and I thought, you know, go and put the stuff on your own channel, don't come onto mine. Occasionally I get things wrong. I mean, I've been in the industry an awful long time. Things change. There are things that I'm not aware of sometimes. I mean, I've only just discovered several things. Do you remember the yarn genie, the thing that holds the yarn? Why I've been all these years without using those? That's been a revelation to me. As have square knitting needles. I'm gradually going through all of my knitting needle stash now and converting to square knitting needles because I absolutely love them. Only just discovered that. I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. However, I decided that I was getting a bit fed up of her, so I blocked her from the channel, and she's only come back under a different name. It's so important to her that she tells me I'm wrong every week, that she's signed up under another name, she's opened another account, and she's coming back. Keep it coming, love, because it gives me something to talk about at the end of the videos. Go figure. So is there anything else? One, this is quite a good one. You should only talk in USA terms, as we must be your biggest audience, and the whole world should adopt our way of doing things. If you continue to use British, I will stop watching you. And by the way, you spelled colour wrong. Now, this is a bone of contention. This is, I'm English, and my first language is English. We originated the language It went over there with you. I'm told, this is something that I learnt today, I'm told that going back, that printers who were doing like hand setting and everything in America used to charge by the letter, and to make it cheaper they went through various words and started to take letters out, and that's why sometimes you spell differently to us. As long as you know what I'm talking about, surely it doesn't matter how we spell it, does it? I don't know. But thank you for pointing out that, as you say, America is my biggest audience. It's not. I'm sorry, love. I'm sorry. I love all my American viewers. I've got quite a lot of you. But I think it makes up something like 27% of my worldwide viewers. So you're not the biggest one. I think the comment came from the fact that various countries use different terms for thicknesses, and weights of yarn. And when I try and convert them, that converts it for one, but it doesn't convert it for another country. So what I actually said was that I was going to just continue talking in British UK terms, and then you can, whatever country you're in, you can convert yourself to that. So when I talk about UK DK or double knitting, I'm actually talking about American yarn weight number 3, even though some people say that's number 2. And when I talk about knitting needle size, I talk about it in millimeters, but some countries talk about in numbers, but other countries, their numbers are different. So it's just easier if I talk about what I know about and what I work in, and then you do the conversions yourself. I hope that makes sense. And it's a difficult one, but I think we should actually just make sense that we all start worldwide. The craft community is now worldwide, but I think we all see each other on things like this, but I think it would make sense if we all use the same numbering system and the same yarn weight system, and of course every country will want the world to use theirs. So it's a difficult one. It's quite a difficult one. I know it appears now when I'm buying knitting needles and crochet hooks worldwide, a lot of people now, a lot of countries are starting to use millimeters, and that does make a little bit of sense, so we all know what we're talking about. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about that. Leave a comment. So I don't think there was very much more. So if you've enjoyed what we've done today, please like and subscribe. Subscriptions are going up very nicely. It's interesting that I've had over 200,000 views, but only 5,000 subscribers. The subscribers don't make any difference to being monetized. That was another thing somebody actually said, that I shouldn't be monetized. I should be doing this for free. It started off for a long time, because anybody who knows anything, it takes a bit of work to get monetized, and then it doesn't pay very much. It certainly doesn't cover the cost of all this lot behind. Hopefully one day it will. Who knows? I don't care. I'll carry on doing it because I do enjoy our little bits of time together. So yeah, this subscriptions don't make any difference to that. But what does actually happen is the more people that subscribe, the more then YouTube will recommend the videos to other people. And also, if you subscribe, it's completely free, by the way, because somebody actually asked that question. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. It's completely free. All you've got to do is push the button that's down here somewhere that says subscribe, and then you'll be notified when I've done a new videos, so you'll get to see all the videos I do. So please like and subscribe, it really does help out the channel. Pop over to the Patreon site and have a look over there and see what's going on. We're just about to start a make along over there with my 48 stitch double knit sock pattern, and especially Christmas coming up, they're very quick to knit and they're really nice to give to presents for people, especially the men. Quite a lot of people say, can I recommend something quick to knit for a man? So really it's either a beanie hat or a pair of socks, pair of gloves even. So I might do a pair of gloves on there at some point. So enough of me rambling on. It's been, I get comments about that. It's been lovely to be with you once again. So as always, very much love. Happy yarn smithing or yarn sniffing, depending on whatever you want to do. Much love as always, and I'm going to see you really soon. Bye bye.